Hollywood actor Eddy Griffin just sounded off with the crazy conspiracy theory, addressing the concerns that the fires in LA were actually started to hide evidence. The evidence of what? It's the unthinkable. I don't even want to say the word here on YouTube, but I'll let him say it on the video. In addition to this, an Emmy has been reportedly stolen, an Emmy award, during the LA fires by one of the looters that have been reported, and people are trying to gaslight Americans for trying to call this out. Stay tuned for this and more.
Hello and welcome to another installment of NNN, where we give it to you straight, no chaser. Let's get right to it. LA is on fire. Now, a lot of people saying it's to cover up the pedophile trail, and all of a sudden the water ain't working, and hold on.
Strange, he started that video off with saying, a lot of people saying it's to cover up the pedo, man, dude, to say it's coming up the trail. I got to watch when I say that. That's very interesting to me to see that's how he starts off. Because the simple fact of, as an actor, he would have the ability to immediately denounce it. To immediately say, oh, that's hogwash. That stuff is completely fake. I'm getting tired of people with these crazy conspiracies claiming these things are going on. What you guys know, if you've been following me a long time on X for the past 2 years, I've been exposing just that, about these networks, about the tunnels, and about the children. It's absolutely horrendous, and it's not a conspiracy.
60% of the water rights is owned by this fucking couple. What's their name? Yeah, the wonderful company is owned by this husband and wife team. They own pistachio, they own Fiji water. I stopped drinking any of that shit around the motherfucking globe. Let them motherfuckers go broke. Feeding the pistachios and the almonds, all that goddamn water. Meanwhile, people's houses burning down, dying of thirst and shit. All these sons of bitches. And the regulators who allowed them motherfuckers to own 60% of the goddamn water. Fire them motherfuckers too, goddammit. What the fuck is y'all problem?
Who is his censor? The person who's ever censoring his videos, they're doing a very, I don't know, inconsistent job, because some words are getting blurred out and some of they're just letting fly, which is like absolutely some of the worst words you can let fly.
That is public water. We built the dam that's holding that water and all that shit with taxpayers' dollars. How the fuck y'all gonna sign it over to this goddamn couple? Sons of bitches. Let's pray for the motherfuckers out there that houses is burning down and shit, unless they pedophiles. If they pedophiles, fuck them. Let that shit burn.
I just find it so odd that a Hollywood actor, and this ain't no bum, this is freaking Eddy Griffin, man. If you don't know him, do your research on him. He is somebody say a comedian, comedical legend, a comical legend, sorry. But to most people, he's a home name. He's a household name, man, for a lot of people, especially for like my family and a lot of people from my community. Everyone know of Eddy Griffin, and they adore his content. But overall, it's just really strange that he has the same amount of words to choose from as all of us. He could say anything at any time, yet he is constantly hammering down about a child-ran network, a network that's ran on children in Hollywood. I found that so odd. As an actor, I think the first thing I would do if I have to address this situation, if it was false, is to immediately address that it's fake. But he's speaking on it as if he knows it's a defined thing, as if he knows it exists. It's very interesting to me.
Cause I know what you're doing. You're burning the evidence up, sons of bitches, but we still gonna catch you. And let somebody do some research. In the rich neighborhoods, who had already left their house and knew that the fire was coming? We'll be right back after this commercial break. Leave it in the comments. Also,
it's crazy to have an actor coming off and making these statements. Like, you would think these things would come from like a creator or something like that, or a journalist. But it just shows that, man, we are in such an amazing time to where the worlds are no longer separated. There was once a time where people from his position would never get in front of the camera and speak about what's the inner workings of his world. But we've bridged the gap through culture. We've allowed for these people, celebrities, whatever, to see that there is a network that's available for them to speak, and the world is waiting on them. We're ready to listen. This has encouraged more and more stars to speak about their experiences and to validate the reports from those that are on the outside looking in. And to me, that all but confirms to me that we are in the age of truth, because both sides of the coin are starting to work together at destroying this evil that controls the industry. A few videos ago, we just exposed the dark secrets of Hollywood accountant. You guys probably want to check that video out. That breaks down about how Hollywood is taking the money away from these actors by giving them deals on net profits instead of gross profits, and then they go ahead and say that the movies made less money than it actually did, and claim that they're in the hole, so they don't have to pay them pretty much anything due to them being on contract with net profits. And the title of that video is "Hollywood Actor Reveals He is Struggling Despite Starring in a Box Office Hits Because of Racism." So very interesting. It was with the Gladiator star, and it perfectly goes with this video right here. It breaks it down completely. Hollywood has dark secrets, whether you want to talk about the dark conspiracies and occult rituals and sacrifices, or you want to just talk about Hollywood accounting and it's down to the money. There are some problems in Hollywood, and it's just interesting that we now have actors exposing that as well.
Fired. I heard they fired over 60% of the fireman's staff 3 to 6 months before the fire hit. So somebody knew it was coming, and wanted to make sure that the houses they wanted burned down. Google 2028. It's gonna say Los Angeles smart city. So the best way to get a smart city is by burning out all the residences, and then you can start fresh and build a fucking smart city. This is what the your government is doing to you. They don't give a fuck about us. As Michael Jackson said, all I want to say is they don't give a fuck about us. And another goddamn thing, State Farm canceled fire protection on homes 3 months before the fire. Who tipped them off? Who keeps tipping off motherfuckers that a natural disaster is about to happen? Because it's not natural, it's an unnatural disaster, and State Farm need to be shut the down. Get them people their money back. They done paid in for year after year for fire home protection, and then you gonna cancel the goddamn policy right before the fire hit.
He gonna have to make sure that he don't end up being Epstein, because the stuff that he's breaking on, I don't think the elites really want to hear that, because how they set up the world stage is everyone plays a position. Actors are supposed to stay in a position of acting, journalists supposed to be journalists, and the viewers are supposed to be viewers. They don't want no connection between the worlds, because connections give validations. And if you have an actor coming out here speaking like someone that's on the outside looking in, it's going to validate to everyone on the outside looking in that they're doing it right, which is why they have done such a great job of keeping the world separated. The greatest mistake of the elites was giving people access to the internet, and it appears that itself was something that was inevitable, which feels like divine timing.
Get them motherfuckers they goddamn money, or face the consequences. It's time right to bear arms. Right to bear arms.
Authorities just talk about what they're dealing with here in Altadena. They noted here that there are several people that are facing charges in connection to looting incidents that happened out here in Altadena. And he noted one in particular that some people went into 2 different homes, and Matt, at one point he says they stole an Emmy award from someone. I mean, this is just so offensive to people here who are just literally picking up.
It's what people are voting for, not the fires. Well, yeah, the fire information too. Bad leadership. Bad bad waste management, bad management of the entire city. It's an overall disaster. It's a management disaster. Had it been a Republican state, they would have been grilled to the ground. But it's a bad managed state. And not only are the fires a result of bad management, I won't even get on with the DEI stuff, because it's at the end of the day, the resources of the city have been used horribly. Even with Eddy Griffin just breaking down how there's a couple that has majority of the water there. It's piss poor management that the city allows. The city has allowed the greedy to flourish, and I don't want to say poor, but those that aren't doing as good to struggle. And it's their management. And guess what else the rich get to do? I can't say they're really safe, because YNs are breaking in the houses of everyone, especially the rich. But through the rich's greed, and putting financial gain over safety, over nuclear values, over patriotism, everything that California was, it has led to them having their own problems. They have built up their own problems in that wall of destruction. California is a shell of its former self thanks to bad management. And not only are the fires a result of bad management, like I said, it's the thieves as well. And it's like a soup of Democrat policy trapped within the walls, separated by oceans. These people, it's almost as if Democrats have turned California into a cursed land. You either going to get burned or you're going to get robbed. It's Mad Max out there, and it's all thanks to their leadership.
The mess of their lives.
Yeah, and it's a reminder that we are in Los Angeles when it is an Emmy award that gets stolen.
Yeah.
But, you know, each one of these houses, still, even though there's all this destruction, Kana, behind me, house after house, almost there's nothing left. It has not stopped people from trying to come in and pick through the rubble here to see what they can find and take advantage of the situation. I will say, having been out here now for the better part of a week, here every single day, as I know you've been, the law enforcement presence is immense. In fact, just as we were coming on here, 2 people from the FBI just drove by. Right before that, it was the sheriffs. We had to pass by National Guard troops. So when you're hearing officials say there is zero tolerance for this kind of thing, it seems like they're backing up the words with actions, both with those prosecutions and also with the amount of resources that have been deployed in and around this area. We've been here in the middle of the night. We've been here in the middle of the day, every hour in between, and we always see a consistent law enforcement presence. So that is something that I think people who are maybe homeowners in here that might be worried. Don't forget, it's not just homes that have been destroyed, too. It's the homes that are not destroyed that are under evacuation orders. Obviously, they're...
In terms about the situation with there being fires to burn the evidence, just to go back to that as I'm watching these YNs go through this house, I find it very odd that those conspiracies even start in the first place about there being tunnels in Hollywood. If you haven't heard about the tunnels in the Playboy Mansion, it's worth looking into. I got to be careful. We're on YouTube right now. But just the whole Gettysburg Museum and whatnot, I won't necessarily say, oh, the fires are to burn evidence. I mean, hell, the fire house, they didn't even touch Diddy house. It ain't touch Tom Hanks' house. It ain't touch a lot of big celebrity houses that are filled with those conspiracies. So it doesn't really make that much sense to me. I think it's just nature running its course and bad people that aren't able to manage nature doing what it does best. I don't really think it's anything like that. Maybe Eddy Griffin feels that way because he has information that's provided to him, but from the information provided to me, I don't think so. But I think maybe what Eddie could be going to is that those fires could have been natural, and the reports of fires being started after the initial fires could be where evidence is being burned. And I say that because Donald Trump is about to be the president, and if there was a massive amount of evidence to be collected, and after he becomes president, I would do the absolute impossible to get rid of it. And that even includes starting an entire forest fire. Yeah, burning down houses, because if it's information that could destroy an entire political network or Hollywood itself or the music industries, yes, I could see people destroying an entire town to keep that under wraps because it destroys one industry that destroys another that destroys another. We're talking about the livelihoods of the very, very top 1%. So yes, I wouldn't put that past it, but it would have to be manufactured fires after the initial fire itself.
Risk because they're not destroyed. There are police officers out here, law enforcement personnel doing what they can, but it's such a huge area, Kana, as you mentioned earlier, that it's, you know, they can't be everywhere at once.
Right, and it is really widespread. I mean, we talked about the looting that they say they saw here on the Eaton fire out in Altadena, but they also talked about the looting incidents that they saw on the outskirts of the Palisades fire. And you're right to mention there, Matt, the concerns of the homes that are still standing. It sounds like that's an issue they ran into in that Mandeville Canyon area where somebody stole some $200,000 worth of goods is what they're alleging. And they're saying that, Matt, one of these people, it was their third offense. This person is facing life in prison at this time. They're clearly taking this very seriously, and that's what we're hearing here from our local officials. But Matt, I know you're also seeing the National Guard out there, a huge presence here in Altadena and in the Palisades area as well, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question that they are really taking this quite seriously. And we were talking to some firefighters yesterday who were also talking about that with me as well. They were basically saying it makes their jobs easier to do what they do, that they don't have to worry about looking over their shoulder when we know that there are bad actors out there. There's no question. We heard over the weekend from Sheriff Luna that one of the people who was caught in one of these areas was on active parole and had a concealed handgun. So these are not great people that are being arrested here, at least what it seems like. These are people who are seeking to...
And some of them being tasked of putting out the fires, I'm sure, is nonviolent offenders, I would think.
Take advantage
They're the people that Kim Kardashian is demanding that they get a pay raise for.
Adding insult to the worst of injuries to people who have gone through, and as we're talking, Kane, I'm literally watching another officer drive by right there on the street. So again, the presence is out here, but even with that, and even with the continuous messaging that we've heard from officials, zero tolerance, we're not putting up with scams, we're not putting up with looting, we still see people coming out trying to take advantage. So the vigilance.
It's absolutely unreal what's happening in California, but I think it should be used as a subject, an example of what all of America could be. Hell, Detroit is the best example of that, of the long-term effects of having Democrats rule your city. And Los Angeles is an example of the short-term effects to medium-term effects of having a Democrat rule your city. You can't manage when life comes at you. It's piss poor management when life comes at you. And then when life comes at all of the citizens, the criminals come right after. That is the result of living in Democrat cities as of right now. And I'm not saying this as a radical conservative or anything. It's just someone that sees the reality of these things. It's unfortunate. Tennessee as a whole, let's be real about this. Tennessee is a conservative state. Georgia, conservative state. But the two most dangerous cities, Memphis and Atlanta, are ruled by Democrats. And I don't fault the lower level Democrats, but those that's at the very top that's taking advantage of all of us. And even more so, Memphis is so bad that, did you know that if Memphis didn't exist, Tennessee wouldn't even rank on the top 10 most dangerous state list? That explains it itself, that Democrats rule things so poorly that if you have one of their cities in your state, your entire state can be added to the top 10 most dangerous list. That is absolutely unreal, and that explains a lot about the problems in America. It's one of the main reasons why I'm conservative. If you're enjoying the content, please like, comment, subscribe, and click the notification bell to stay updated on the next one until we break the next narrative. Thank you.